the BTCC YouTube channel. Today we're at a slightly rainy Thruxton. Let's go and have a catch up with some of the 2025 drivers. So we'll catch up with our driver Maxwell first and see what he's got to say about his first half of his first season in touring cars. It's looking like it's going to rain today. How are you feeling about the sort of like changing weather, and what's the car going to look like, do you think?
I mean, I haven't been out in the wet in one of these yet, so I'm going to have to go find out, I reckon.
Have you driven around the track before? You have in minis?
Yeah, I did in minis, but they're so slow, it's nothing compared to these. So
how are you feeling sort of about being in a touring car in the fastest circuit in the UK?
I'm going to go send it, and I'm excited to see what it's like.
You've done pre-runs in a touring car now. Have you gotten used to the vibe of driving it, or are you still trying to get comfortable with it?
I mean, especially since this is a sort of a new track for me as well. Obviously going to take some getting used to, but I just want to try and get out of Q1.
You've been working alongside Nick and Dexter, who've obviously got experience in touring cars beforehand. How have they been helping you out on like new tracks like this?
Yeah, obviously I ask them a few questions and they'll give me a few tips. Yes, they've been helping me out quite a bit.
And then obviously new team as well. How are you getting on with all of the mechanics and everything?
Yeah, it's been going really well. They're all a nice bunch of people, and yeah, just really good.
Does the data help a lot? Like, are you able to learn a lot from each of your sessions on track?
Yeah, got a really good data man who's been with me for a few years, so yeah, he's doing well.
Oh, he's followed you through?
Yeah, I had him last year in JCWs.
Oh, okay, so he's like come up with you?
Yeah.
So I guess you're both getting used to the championship as well together?
Yeah.
So Max mentioned obviously that you've both worked together before when he was in JCWs.
Yep.
How has that relationship developed now that you've come into BTCC?
It's a really great pleasure actually to be able to work with Max in a junior series and then up into the British touring cars. I've also found that it's a great way that I've got the experience of knowing what makes him tick, how to kind of get my point across. Sometimes it can be a problem because we kind of creep back into old habits, let's say. So we have to work quite hard to make sure that he's driving this car as it's supposed to be driven and not like a Mini. But just having a year of working together, even if it was a year in this, just gives us that ability to go straight, hit the ground running, because we already know how each other works.
And obviously a touring car is a lot different to a Mini. How have you found the adjustment for yourself coming from doing data engineering there to coming into touring cars?
It's undoubtedly a step up. There's a lot more to do, a lot more to think about, but you know, with a good team around you and people that are willing to teach you, it's not impossible to make the step up, and I'm really enjoying having to have more responsibility, more to do, more to check, and just taking the next step forward really in both my career and helping Max with his.
How long have you been doing data engineering? Was it sort of like, were you new into the Minis, or was that like...
It's a long story, I'll make it very brief. I started at university. From that I then got a chance to have a go at Porsche Carrera Cup, and then from that I then went into Minis and then up into touring cars.
And now from one rookie to another, this driver won his first race in only his second weekend in the season. Let's chat to Charles Rainford about what he's been up to for the first half of the season. How has the season gone so far? Obviously you've come up from the Porsches and now you're in a touring car. What's the adjustment been like for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest bit to get used to has really been the extra fan engagement. The cars are fantastically fun to drive, and obviously WSR have helped me out a lot. The championship's awesome, and I love the whole boost, push to pass, TTB as well. So really enjoying it in the championship. The racing's very different. That's been another thing to get used to. But yeah, just loving it so far.
And how different are the cars to the Porsches that you were driving last year? Obviously you're in a rear-wheel drive, which is different to the rest of the grid, but how different are they?
Yeah, they are very different. You say they're both rear-wheel drive, but that's kind of where the similarities stop after that. Obviously now we're front engine, Porsche's got the engine in the back, we're on smaller tyres, the thing moves around a lot more at high speed, so it suits my driving style a lot more. I think I prefer this driving style. I could never quite get my head fully around the Porsche, so results have been okay so far this year, so we just keep trying to build on that really.
And obviously you've come into a new team as a rookie. How has that been for you? How have the team sort of adjusted around you? What are the kind of people that you've been working with like?
Yeah, I mean, as it is anyway, I've got such an experienced crew on my car. So I've got Dan Millard, engineer, very, very experienced. He's helped me so much already to get up to speed in terms of driving and a lot of stuff away from the track. We actually live about 5 minutes away from each other, so we meet up quite regularly to go through stuff. Obviously I've got ABS, number one mechanic, Tom as well on my car is number 2, so I've got a really experienced crew, and that leaves me obviously with a lot of confidence. If I have any questions, everyone just knows what they're doing.
And how about working with the rest of the team? Obviously Jake's got a lot of experience, so does Aidan, and Daryl's been in for a few years now. How have you sort of worked with them on tracks maybe you don't have as much experience at? How have they been able to help and guide you?
Oh, massively, you know, especially Aidan and Jake. You know, Jake especially has been very, very kind to me and teaching me all the little tricks of this car, which has been amazing. It's great to be direct teammates as well with Aidan, obviously, in terms of like what we do around outside of driving the car. It turns out it's quite a busy schedule, so he helps me to make sure I'm in the right place at the right time. But I've just such a good group of guys and girls around me that yeah, that's really why we've had such a strong start to my rookie season.
So Charles mentioned that you've obviously helped him a lot through the season, like getting up to speed with the car. Can you sort of talk about how you've taken him under your wing a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I've got obviously 3 new teammates. You know, all of them are new to the BMW, so you know, it's not just Charles. All 3 of them. You know, I've tried to help out with any questions they've got or anything they're particularly struggling with, and they seem to be doing all right, all 3 of them. But you know, that's not all down to me. They're all you know, great drivers, all of them. So lucky to have the teammates I've got, and obviously Charles has been super strong so far this year. So him and Darryl obviously getting a win with me at Brands was a good highlight for the team.
And I think you work with Charles outside of touring cars, don't you, sometimes?
Yeah.
How do you sort of like separate the 2 of those? Because you're both instructors, aren't you?
I was an instructor. Yeah, but we worked together at Brands for a little while, and we've done many events together for different manufacturers and stuff over the years. So it's a bit different when obviously you're teammates with someone, because ultimately you still want to beat each other, you know, both ways. But you know, when you're away from the track, you're still good friends. You know, you leave whatever happens at the circuit, and you know, we just remain good mates really. So yeah, but I'm enjoying having him and the other 2 guys with me this year, West Surrey. It's, you know, we're really starting to create a nice environment now.
So obviously you're the reigning champion at the moment. How is the team working to try and get you that 2nd title? You've got a new number 2.
Yeah, I had a new number 2, Kimmy, this year, just only because Jarps, who was my number 2 for the last 2 years, he's just gone off to do some rallying. He's always wanted to do a bit of rallying, so he's gone off to do that. So Kimmy has stepped into his shoes this year, but I've still got my number 1, Dom, which for me is the most important, you know, guy on the team. He's the one who makes sure the car is always as perfect as can be, and obviously my absolute rock in Craig, my engineer, alongside me still as well. So yeah, for sure the two most important people are still by my side, but Kimmy is doing a fantastic job, and he's fitted straight into the groove as well. So you know, we're trying extremely hard to try and continue that championship run, but yeah, it's not been the easiest of starts to the year, but there's still a lot of rounds left. You know, we've got a long way to go. Really don't want to start thinking about the championship until after the halfway point, so let's get to there and see where we are.
Okay, so obviously you've worked with Charles this season, and he's new into the championship. He mentioned that you 2 have been working closely together and you've helped him sort of get to grips with the car.
Yeah.
Can you just talk to us a little bit about how it's been working with him?
Yeah, it's been brilliant working with Charles, because he's a real student of the sport. He takes all the information in, he wants to learn everything about the car, so he's been a pleasure to work with so far, and he's adapted to the car really quickly. He did Porsches last year, now in the rear-wheel drive BMW, he's taken to it really well.
And obviously he's quite into data and stuff, I know.
Yeah.
How has that sort of helped you with his like keenness to be involved in all the data and everything?
Yeah, it's a massive help that he's into data, because we can just throw data at him and he already knows what he's looking at, so he can pick out exactly where he needs to find time, where he's doing well. So it makes my life much easier, to be honest.
Obviously he won his 2nd weekend in the championship. How did that feel for you, as like watching him literally 2 weekends in take that win?
Yeah, it was amazing seeing him win his first race, because I thought straight away that he'd have it in him, but I didn't think he'd do it within the first 2 weekends. Yeah, it was amazing. It was really exciting, and I was just over the moon for him, really.
Now we've caught up with our rookies, let's catch up with some of our more experienced drivers, Napa drivers Dan Rowbottom and Ash Sutton. Talk us through FP1, how was it?
Well, moist, wasn't it?
We've decided.
Sorry.
Are you serious?
Yes, how was FP1? It was wet. Talk us through it.
It was one of those horrible sessions, really, wasn't it?
It was a bit, yeah, it was damp in places, a bit moist in others. It was all over the shop.
Yeah, it was one of those as drivers we don't like, because you can't get a true read on the wet condition, the dry condition.
Or the car.
We did a bit of housework at the beginning. I think you did most of yours. We did all of ours. When we say that, it's tyre scrubbing and things like that. Then we were sort of waiting for the weather to pass, really, weren't we?
We were. I think a lot of the time at the end came on getting the tyres on at the right time, getting enough heat, and then send it. And being really brave. Ash is really, really brave.
I'm not.
I went down 2 notches on my bravery scale, but I did nearly bin it through Noble twice. So I thought that's enough.
Fair enough.
That's enough for today. That's enough for today. But yeah, we finished FP1, and you're P1 and I was P9, so he's quicker than me.
What are your expectations for qualifying then, obviously?
Hopefully it gets rained off.
Let's see what the weather does. I think is the biggest thing, isn't it?
No, I'd really like the championship to if it rains heavily, we should just all go to the pub and just flip a coin.
What drink are you going for at the pub?
I can go vodka tonic and fresh lime.
Here we go.
Is it scary around here at the wet then?
Yeah. Scary.
He didn't even let her finish the sentence. Just straight.
It's scary all the time, but when you add a bit of dampness, it gets scarier.
Yeah, adds to the spice.
Especially with a slick tyre.
Yeah, that is not the combination you want at Thruxton. But I mean, it's We'll see what the weather's going to do. FP2, hopefully it's going to be dry. We'll get a bit of dry running, and then I think it's going to be wet for qualifying.
If you want to catch more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to the BTCC YouTube channel, and we'll catch you at Oulton Park.